Hoi there, I'm Rain, and welcome to the Weeaboo Nightmare. There's nothing I enjoyed more than the endless months of sleepless nights and 15 hours on my feet drugged up on paracetamol. Those were the days, the good 2019 days, before the whole pandemic business happened. I don't think I've ever been so clueless and naive in my entire life. Except for all the times I was clueless and naive. It's very worrying how easy it was to get into that position, while at the same time not realizing how serious it all was. And on top of that, I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so no, I can't tell you where this place was. Or is. Even though a part of me still wants it to burn to the ground, I can't say a thing. Gladly, I still have my privacy, and I'll leave out a few key details so nobody knows what I'm talking about. For those who do, keep it to yourself. I'm not trying to get sued. You know it's serious when I'm wearing a dressing shirt. I hate smart clothing, so stiff and uncomfortable. I even bought a pencil skirt for future interviews, and I hate them the most. But this job left such a bad taste in my mouth. I never worked another industry job since. The interview went well, a little too well considering I had zero experience. I thought it was pure luck, but I should have known better. After the workday started, I quickly noticed why just about anyone was getting hired. So many people were leaving. Every day there was something else to complain about. But it was a damn maid cafe in England, dude. It was the hype of the whole city. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone wanted to work there and go there. The waiters in their pretty dresses and suits. The baristas making colourful drinks and fancy lattes. I wish I was lying when I said someone was having a mental breakdown in the back room every day. Heck, even I was there losing my shit a few times. We were like flies in a honey trap. So sweet and dandy, and then the poison sets in and you die. But then a new set of flies comes along for the sweet honey. Replaceable, that's what we were. Insignificant, buzzy little flies in frilly outfits. I remember all the shit-talking staff did over headsets. They were tiny little radios we used to talk to each other from anywhere in the cafe. We were never allowed to take them off, or else the manager would take us to the back and beat us. No, they didn't do that. We were allowed to take them off when we went to the bathroom and had our 20-minute lunch break. Yeah, that's all we got. That's all we got for the whole day. The manager hated kids. She'd send the maids or waitresses or whatever you want to call them to babysit the children that strayed a little too far from their parents. I don't want a single one of those little shits to be left unattended, she'd say. Somebody tell that parent to put her kid on a leash. But she made sure we didn't say it like that, for obvious reasons. Smile, she'd tell us, while complaining about the customers. It was cool until she started talking shit to us. It was a good laugh for a while, but morale started to drop fast as the weeks went by. We were getting tired of walking in circles till our feet hurt. We were tired of not being allowed out of the building until our shift was over. Tired of the 20 minutes break and working overtime till we had to run out to catch the last train home. I was starting to feel the exhaustion and insanity kicking in. Listen, I'm a demon for a reason. My sense of humor is pretty dark and messed up at times. It was one of the few reasons I was able to laugh while working at that place. Yes, everyone, smile, I join in mockingly. It's very important we smile big. If you have to get a knife to make it bigger, you do what you gotta do. Oh God, Rain, no. Rain, what the fuck? Some would say. But I laughed and a few others did too, and if I was gonna get fired for making people laugh, I thought it was a good way to go. Nobody wanted to smile. We were tired of everything. and management talking to us like every day was picture day. That certainly wasn't helping at all. My first day as a waitress was something, to say the least. We never had any real training days. We were just told to shadow behind a more experienced waiter until we got it and then get to work, I guess. That's all I had to go off. I got the gist of things pretty quickly, at least I thought I did. The tables were all numbered with a labelled plant pot, so if you could see the number on the plant pot, you could more or less tell what table you were at. Unfortunately, the pot numbers weren't always visible. Some of them you had to turn around manually to see the number. It was kind of expected that you memorize the table number placement in the first few days, or, you could mess up an order or something worse. I think you know where I'm going with this. There was a system we had in the cafe. Every customer paid for a time slot. After your time was over, you left, and another customer came to take your place. Now that was a whole mess. 'Cause this wasn't exactly the most obvious thing in the world to most customers, even though this would be explained at the door and on the website. Fair enough, it wasn't in the biggest font, but it was there. You can imagine how some people would be pissed if they're in the middle of a meal and they're asked to leave, or their meal is given to them at the end of their time slot and they're asked to leave. Yeah. Some customers would actually refuse to leave, so you can bet this job was fun. The dismisser, I'm going to call it now. The receptionist would ask for one of the wait staff to assist them, hand them a sheet of paper with table numbers on, with the priority ones being highlighted, and told us we need to ask them to leave because their time slot was over. I had this job on my first day. I was Rain the dismisser, and I was ready. Everyone was reasonably understanding. I never told anyone to leave in those words. It was more like, hey, how are you? I hope you enjoyed your stay. Blah blah. Are you finished with your meal? And then I'd explain to them how to pay, and then it was lovely having them, but unfortunately the time slots has ended. Whenever you're ready, blah blah blah. It was a very wordy way to say, we have your money now, fuck off. People seemed to be okay with it, except this one table. Hey guys, I started my usual cheery routine, but this table's aura was very off. They were pissed. The moment I mentioned time slot, it was game over for me. The guy stood up from his chair, picked the table up. What did you say to me? No, that's not what happened. He just went off about, if you want us to leave so badly, I guess we'll just go. I'm sick and tired of this cafe. We've been treated like shit. Someone just came here 5 minutes ago telling us to leave. My mind was going through 5 different dimensions trying to figure out what was going on, but I had no idea. A few of the waitresses stopped at the table trying to figure it out too, but then it hit me. While the guy was losing his shit, I looked at the pot on the table, and then my piece of paper. Well, the numbers were not the same. I went to the wrong table. Probably the worst table to do that as well. I told them to leave way earlier than they were meant to actually leave. They wanted to speak to the manager, of course, and in my realization that this whole situation could have been avoided if I had just double-checked the numbers, I started frantically apologizing. I'm sorry, sir, this is my first day here. I mixed up the numbers. I wasn't meant to tell your table to leave. I even tried to show him the piece of paper, but it wasn't interesting. No, he said. I know it's not your fault. But it is. It's the wrong number. I'm sorry. It's the managers, how they run this place. It's disgusting. He completely dismissed everything I was saying. I mean, little did I know at the time, he was kind of right. So someone else is being blamed for my mistake, in my mind. And in typical anime fashion, I ran out the back door crying. and I cried a lot. I was feeling pretty guilty. My boss actually heard me sniffing over the headset. "Who's that sniffing?" she asks. "It's me." "Me who?" Oh Christ, it was awkward. I hate crying in front of people. But the boss had a chat with the table and they told it to get fucked or something. And they were gonna write a bad review. Then my boss came to me and started shit-talking them to me, and it was kind of funny. That was the last time I got paid to cry. The other times they docked my pay. I couldn't stand waitressing for more than a few weeks. I literally couldn't stand without being drugged out of my mind with paracetamol. Every step was so painful. I'm not kidding when I said I sometimes spent 15 hours on my feet. Working overtime, walking to train stations, waiting on trains and walking home. And travel was usually only an hour of that. Maybe 2 if trains are especially bad. At least working as a barista, I only had to walk in a 2-meter squared space, instead of circling the whole cafe for hours, seeing if anyone needed help or food or cleaning empty plates and tables. No. I quickly found my home base at the bar, and I was determined to stay there. I didn't have to smile like an idiot. I could mope and sit on the ground or stool and clean cups, and I kinda liked making drinks. It's a complicated story. There's so much to tell. I haven't even gotten into the more traumatic things and my messed up coping mechanism. I guess you'll find out why the demon persona makes sense another day. Hope you enjoyed this story. Before we end the video, I want to say a huge thank you to my new patrons. JD, Harold, Lulu, Spud, and a special thank you to my first 5 patrons: Mike Cole, Dystopian Chell, Vinventive, Dangleberry, and Crimjoy. If you like my content, drop a like, comment, or sacrifice your soul to me. I'm grateful for any kind of support, since it makes this content more possible. Did you know I have another channel called Rainhet? Well, now you do. See you next time. Farewell.